From AgriPoint, I'm James Kotecki, and this is the Point Cloud on location at the AIM for Climate Summit in Washington, D.C. And joining me is Julie DiNatale, the new Chief Sustainability Officer at FMC. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So FMC, can we first kind of define for folks what that is and what sustainability means, which will help explain why you're here at AIM for Climate?
Yeah, so sustainability at FMC, we are a crop solution, crop protection company. We're innovating every day to bring growers across the globe new tools to make sure that they can raise our crops sustainably. Sustainability at FMC is embedded across the company. We have many different opportunities for us to play a part in that beyond just our products. So we also have assigned ourselves with a very, very ambitious goal. In 2035, we will be net zero. We have that approved by Science Based Targets Initiative. And that's an ambitious goal. We are working across the entire company. Coming in as the new Chief Sustainability Officer, one of the things I've noticed the most is that our teams across our 6,500 folks across the globe are all in sustainability. So we're one of 6 companies that have that Science Based Target Initiative approved for 2035. And we're the only manufacturing company that has a 2035 net zero target approved.
And just to define some of these products, are we talking fertilizers? Can you just be
No, let me be a little bit more specific. So crop protection products that we have range from biologicals for plant health, pheromones to disrupt mating patterns of pests. So we're helping with everything from fungus pressure, insect pressure, weed pressure. So not fertilizers exactly, but we're making sure that crop is protected, which is imperative to make sure we're feeding everyone and also not bringing more land into production. So that in and of itself supports biodiversity to make sure our forests are still there and that we're not doing deforestation to just raise more crops. We have a lot of people to feed here in the next few years, and it seems to be growing every day. So.
What are the primary ways that you are looking to get to net zero? Is there low-hanging fruit? I imagine maybe most of the lowest hanging fruit has been plucked at this point. But how do you think about even tackling a goal like that?
You know, we have brought in the whole entire FMC team to do this. So from our engineers to our procurement folks to our government affairs teams to our R&D teams, and we're taking a look at all of our operations and all of our vendors' operations to make sure that we're hitting our scope 1, 2, and 3 goals.
And I assume that also means things, some positive ways to sequester more carbon in some ways as well, right? Because one assumes that your business, there's always going to be some carbon emissions, or at least for the foreseeable future, that are just difficult to zero out. So
for our own house, our own protection, our own operations, so the environmental protection pillar of FMC's footprint, we're going to, net zero means we'll reduce to 90%, by 90%. We'll always have that small, thin layer.
Yeah.
But then when you ask about carbon sequestration, agriculture is a solution to climate change. That's why we're here at AIM for Climate. We want farmers to be the heroes in all this. They're not just emitters. They can be pulling down a tremendous amount of carbon and storing it in their soils. We're working on our actual products that deploy to the farm to ensure that, if we can make a plant bigger, healthier, if they can get through a climate change or stressors easily, not need as much attention from a synthetic chemical. Yeah. We're all going to win in that respect. And like you said, sequestering carbon is one of the most important pieces, I think, that needs to be addressed. And if you look at the amount of land in production, if every farmer was given the opportunity to do cover cropping, no-till, using the best plant health products, using the most targeted pest and fungicide and herbicide products, we'd be in a great spot, and agriculture would be the heroes.
Speaking of making agriculture the hero and centering it in the climate conversation, we are here at AIM for Climate, the AIM for Climate Summit, which is meaning to do just that. I believe FMC is a major sponsor of this summit. What brings FMC here to the summit, and why did you decide to sponsor?
Yeah, so I think collaboration across the industry is critical. I think that was very clearly a theme of this last 3 days. But we are one of the founding partners of AIM for Climate. We're also a member of one of the innovation sprints with the IBM Accelerator to take a look at where our tools and our solutions, including some of our precision ag and pest predictive tools, can help farmers across the globe. So starting those relationships, the content has been great. Some of the side conversations of where companies can work together. or NGOs work together with companies. It's just imperative that we keep moving the industry together. And although there is, our competitors are here, we really want to be sure that, we're collaborative and we're helping the small companies, the large companies, and farmers in general make progress.
You and I actually met earlier today. We were in the elevator coming down here.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you'd been in this industry for a while. You have a lot of experience, a lot of different companies. What's your sense of optimism, urgency, panic? Like, how are you feeling right now in this moment when it comes to climate change?
Well, two things. So I think, I already said it. Farmers can be the heroes in this space, and we can sequester a lot of carbon and draw down a lot of carbon. We can help the food system, the food, fiber, fuel, and feed systems do better across the board. But farmers need support, and they need to have the agronomic knowledge. They need to have the right trusted advisors guiding them, and they shouldn't have the whole financial burden either. So I think, taking that to heart and understanding where a company like FMC can bring them technologies and tools that move another step farther. I mean, you look at the way we communicate just as individuals. We're using smartphones now. We're not using fax machines, hardly using email anymore in some respects. So that is the progression we're going to see with growers as well, as using the tools that are out there and moving things forward. Another reason why I'm excited about this space is also how we're empowering women. So FAO released a report just a couple weeks ago, and how women are not given the same opportunities in agribusiness as others. And we hosted a breakfast on Tuesday morning addressing that and seeing where more than 50% of our food is raised by women, and they don't have the same access to inputs, to financing, to technology, to know-how. And they need to do many other things, especially in developing countries, for their families, such as even collect water and provide, feed their own and make sure their families are healthy. So I'm very excited about that piece as well.
Seems like part of that education, the idea educating women and girls kind of raises everyone up, certainly applies here as well.
I think it raises up our young men and our boys and
Absolutely.
our men too, because they're being raised by these wonderful women who are actually harvesting the crops, planting the crops, and taking care of the environment.
This event is meant as a stepping stone toward COP28. Any final thoughts here at the Aim for Climate Summit as we look to COP28 and future conversations around agriculture's role in climate?
I think from my perspective, it's a great starting point. We need to keep carrying this on and actually have activities with boots on the ground doing the hard work. And we can get together anywhere in the world and have great collaboration, great conversations. But at the end of the day, it changes when companies and other entities with influence have projects on the ground that move the needle and help everyone.
Julie DiNatale, the new sustainability lead at FMC, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
And thank you so much for watching. I'm James Kotecki from AgriPoint, and this is the Point Cloud. We're on location at the Aim for Climate Summit in Washington, D.C.